good morning. I want to show you how to play Sorcery Contested Realm on Realms.cards, which is my platform for playing Sorcery online. Now, something that's pretty cool right from the start, if you visit Realms.cards, you will see that I can open an app. It's because I already installed this as a web application to my desktop. You can see here on this is my local developer version. Here I have not installed. So if you see this icon, it means you can install and it will make a link in your system like so. The good thing about this is that it's usually easier to get more real estate on the screen, as in these progressive web app views, that's how we call them. The URL bar is missing and other UI elements are not there. How to play an actual match on Realms.cards. I changed to my development environment so I can show you both players simultaneously without messing up anything with the online play and the leaderboard, because we have a leaderboard. So once you install, so to say, you don't need to, you can also just visit the website and signed up. You are presented with the online realms, if you so choose. Here we have a couple of ways to initiate a new game. We can look for a quick play game. So let's do that. Let's look for a constructed game. And on our other player, he really wants a constructed game. So he creates a match, a constructed game, and you see he is auto-matched with the person from the quick play. So both players can join the match and they need a deck. We can just get a deck from Curiosa by copying a link. Let's try this one. I haven't played Ironclad yet, so we just copy the link, we paste it here and hit import, and it should fetch the deck and save it to our decks. Now I lost my window. Yeah, there it is. So here I will just select the deck I had, and it's on. First player's roll. Who goes first? So you click the dice and the winning player chooses. Then you have a mulligan phase where you look at your cards and decide the ones you don't want to have in your hand. And so I guess this is fine. I really have not played Ironclad, so he wants to keep and start the game. And here, Harbinger. It's a very expensive deck, I know that. Let's keep. No, they don't have White Walk. Let's mulligan the Hound, so you see a mulligan also. And let's mulligan that one card. Before we start the game, we get to see the first card on top of the spellbook or atlas as the second player. So I would like to know what comes up in the spellbook, so I confirm. Ooh, the Ring of Mulligan will be kept on top. So this is very special for the Harbinger only. They need to roll 3 dice. The other player sees that too, and there you see my portals. Let's go to the first player and look what they have. As is custom, we need to establish the realm. Oh, look, the Harbinger placed the portal directly on the Ironclad starting site. That's usually good for them. So let us play an aqueduct. and nothing else we can do. We pass the turn. We can now pass the turn by clicking the green button or by hitting enter. Now the second player is on the play, and now let me show you all the things you can do in a full turn. So you have to start a turn by drawing a card, and the game tells us that. So we'll draw from the spellbook. I drew my Ring of Mulligan from before, but to cast it, you know, I have to play a side first. So I played Lookout, which means I can look at the player's hand, the other player's hand. But how? We have a toolbox here in the corner, next to the collection. This is the collection, by the way. Where you can put stuff to hand from the collection. But here is the toolbox. In the toolbox there is this button, Inspect Hand, and if we press it, the other player is asked if we can, and then we see the other player's hand. Alright. We did it 2 times, so I had to decline the second action. So we saw the hand. Here are some things to resolve advanced effects, like for example, I could peek at the top 3 cards, again with consent, and then here are the cards. We can also roll a d20 here. We can force Burrow Submerge Surface, and we can fix the game state by returning banished cards or by applying a full game snapshot, which is very handy if you made a mistake and realize 3 turns later you made a mistake and you want to roll back. You can go to the turn where it was happening, like the bad thing happened. You would usually go here to events, look at the turn number and where you, for example, played it. So if I did not like playing Lookout, it means I should go to turn 2 because I played it at turn 2. And here I can restore the snapshot. We can also do things like banish the entire cemetery of ours, and we can draw a random spell, which is essentially resolving the card Chaos Wish. There's also a special archive, the Realms for Kairos, because Kairos does not snapshot the piles, the draw piles, and the cemetery. If that's wrong, please tell me. I'm happy in any way to incorporate any feedback that you guys might be having. Alright, there is music. Yes, that is music. And if you like music, you can turn it on here. You should know that most things can be done the way you want to. So we can play Ring of Mulligan here. Because it's carryable artifact, we can attach it to Harbinger and it will stay attached. Most cards on the board have right click abilities. So here the Harbinger can tap, untap. We can add a counter, which might be helpful for various things. A counter has like 2 halves that you can increment and decrement. If you don't like the counter, you can remove it again. We can with right click also drop the Ring of Mulligan if needed. And we can look at permanents. I can change the control to give it to P1. I can attach it to a unit again, add a counter, or move to hand cemetery or spellbook or banish a card. To move a card to a pile, you can also drag it, if it's the cemetery, from the board, or if it's the spellbook from the hand. We can decide if we want to put it on top or bottom of the pile, you can also directly drag from the top of a pile. If you want to drag in an atlas, yeah, avatar is usually untapped, and that is why it was not working. Please note, I didn't mention it, but I think it's seen. There are how the Harbinger portals will be shown, like here, so you always know where they are. Everything you see here persists. Refresh, reload of the browser window, which I advise you to do if anything is like stuck or strange. Try reloading. You see we have exactly the same state. We save every little step in the server, and you will exactly land where you took off. So a couple of other things you might need. There are tokens, and they can be invoked like so. Click once and you see all the tokens, and then you can drag them out. Oops. This is a perfect example. Now I messed a little thing up and it got my board stuck, but now it works again after reloading. So let's get the skeleton back. This is just like when you drag a card and something else comes up, this is how you can land in a state that is not really supported. So you know how to fix it, just reload. Tokens that are attachable are also attachable here. So let's do. You can either attach it when you drag it off or when it's on the board. You attach it with right click. Well, what else? For sites, you can switch the position of them. It's a consent action, so the other person needs to approve. There is a threshold display here where you can change your available mana. However, you should know that mana and threshold are auto-tracked across sites, families, cores, and the list goes on. So if you see something is untracked, please tell me. On the other hand, we have the health, which is very important. Of course, it's the main game state. If this goes to 0, the match will be over, and the player who got 0 is the loser. The other one is the victor. If both are on death's door, there is a ability to make a draw, and that will also like then need consent from the other player, and then it will be a draw. We have some camera controls. Some people prefer 2D. Some people prefer 3D. We have some camera keys. Q and E can tilt and untilt. You can tilt the board. Now it's tilt the board. And with WASD or in the match view also the cursor keys. In editor it's different. In editor the cursor keys can scroll through your, at least in draft, through your picks. And this is how we can navigate here. The controls are very much compatible to what you get in Tabletop Simulator. The main difference is that there is no select mechanic here to select many cards. Yeah, like I said, there's the collection. You can bring stuff to hand if you draw something from your collection. There is, which should be said, a little info button that I will cover in a future episode, because it holds the combat guides and magic guides, which are helpers for you to declare an attack and assign defenders for the combat guides. And for the magic guides, it means you play a spell, then you say who the spellcaster is and what the target is. And it's still a bit experimental. That's why I keep it just a bit hidden here in the info. but we'll talk about it soon. Let's end the turn by pressing enter and bring this non-game to an end. Again, they cannot play anything. They need to draw first. So they draw. And then they play Aquamarine Core. And it's attached to the avatar. We can attach it. And it dies because of old age. Bob dies. Just so you see a death. So Bob wants, they're ready, they're down, they want to declare their death. They do. This consent thing you just saw happens when I select 0 with 1 player. It means, do you want to continue still, because it will mean you die. And if we do, we get this, which says we lost and the other one won. So thank you for joining our first session. You know now how to play a game, and the shortcut keys for that, I will go and explain how to construct a deck from a draft or sealed session in the next video. Thank you so much, and I